Hello and welcome to Warblog. Today we're looking at this game, which is taking me a little bit of time to put together with all the other things happening. And it's a little draft, but I think this is quite a nice game. It's on one of these new fancy dandy big maps. Not sure I like the big maps. They take a lot longer to do, but I think in this instance I've sort of chosen the big map because there's this border point here and this border point here, and they both sort of needed to be in the running, but to put it on a small map would have sort of really, I don't know, I think it would have made them too close together. They are actually very, quite far apart. So essentially what we got is Morocco and Algeria. Morocco, there's a border dispute because essentially a lot of this land was part of, I don't know which parts, but this is the border. A lot of it, which is Algeria, was annexed to them from Morocco by the French quite a few years before, and they were not so happy about that. And so it starts off with some sort of border skirmishes. Now, I don't know how to reflect border skirmishes, but essentially, then Morocco essentially invades Algeria. It's a strange concept because all they do is go over the border and take some border points. I don't know exactly what happened other than my interpretation of the Wikipedia article. But that's what they did. And then basically the Egyptians come to help, and maybe I could put some more in there, but they send some troops and they send some hardware. So the hardware is reflected by the Algerian entrance on turns 5 and 6. So this could be maybe Egyptian. I'm not sure I've got enough units to start off with. They describe them as being a bit antiquated, using a lot of mixed materials from, say, the Second World War, German stuff, English stuff, other items, lots of different calibers and different things that didn't fit together properly. However, so that there's quite a bit of sort of faffing around. I get the feeling that all that really happened was they crossed the border and took these points. There wasn't really much else because it sort of went to negotiations, which is what happens in a lot of wars. So it'd be tempting to sort of try and take all these little towns and move down here and defeat the other side, and it's not like that. They just moved across. So you've got to sort of, I don't know, I think use this as a tool to understand what happened. It's not a particularly, it looks as though it should be, but it's not a particularly strategic game in that sense. But anyway, the Cubans then arrive. Now, there's quite a lot of them, relatively. They arrive at a port, and so they come on turn 20 from around here, because the port is over here in the Mediterranean. They come down here. But basically, they before they get a chance to actually engage, the truce is signed, and Morocco hands back all the territory it took. So that's the sort of the history, the basic general background. I mean, there could be more to it. I just don't, know what happened where. All Wikipedia says is they took these 2 border points. What happened with these skirmishes? It's interesting really because it's where the sort of game not so much falls to bits, but it's not as maybe as strong as it could be, in the sense that unless I sort of put units all along this border, it's quite porous. It's quite easy to just drive straight through there and take Safi or Isiwari. There's Sidi Ifni. A lot of these places we're seeing again and again. I noticed that because when I type them in, the text thing remembers them. I said, oh, I've done Sidi Ifni and all these ones, all these weird places, they're already in there. So I'm not going to play it all the way through, but last, the Moroccans. Now, the thing I like about this, to some extent, maybe, possibly, is that the way these big maps differ is you get a little more scope for strategic movement. On a little map, this unit would be, whether it went this way or that way, it would be in striking distance of whatever else is on the map. But if I start moving them south, it really means that they can't actually engage in north without, spending a few turns. I don't really like focusing on that too much, because at the end of the day, you still get sort of the battle zone. So we could have, that map on its own and that map on its own. But I'm going to sort of maybe replicate some of the border skirmishy type activity. So we've got basically a whole bunch of trucks up here. I've deliberately given everything small units. The only thing that I've sort of messed up on a bit, and I couldn't have to change it, is that some of the Algerian units are actually quite strong, when really they had weak. This is a strong armoured company, and when you look at the Moroccan armoured company, it's weaker. It should be the other way around. They had better equipment all around, and the Algerians had crap equipment. But I sort of made it, and I couldn't want to change it, so it's not the end of the world. Well, let's see whether I can prevent the border from being porous. So it's not impossible to actually do what I sort of suggested there. They're all on the border sort of skirmishing now. That's interesting, because that road goes down here. There's no road across there. So how much will that take? Again, it's a game where I'm playing because I want to play the video, make a video of it. I will maybe think a bit more about that. But that took 1.6. I'm not saying it would have been quicker to take any other route, but that's sort of like you're looking at the roads. Okay. What I'm trying to do here, what's he got left? That's it for him. What I'm trying to do is sort of perhaps give this border a bit of integrity. I mean, clearly I'm probably not even going to get through this turn, but I think it's an interesting game that will appeal more to the people that like interesting games as opposed to an interesting scenario. Because I think this would take quite a long time to sort of, not necessarily to sort of get right or anything, but just to really get your head around it, and to play it 2 or 3 times would take quite a bit of more time than one of the other scenarios. I don't want to do too many of these big maps, but I want to sort of put them in every now and then, like as a special. For example, I will be making another even bigger map, not much bigger than this, but probably about the same size, so I've got probably another 6 hex rows. And with that, I'm going to do the Iraqi wars, the liberation of Kuwait and the invasion of Iraq by coalition forces. Whatever that's Storm, Operation Storm or something, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I do intend to do that now. I've given it some consideration because there's quite a lot of information on it, but I'm not going to do it soon. Maybe next year, but it's something I'm gearing up for because it's going to be a big one, and I'm probably going to give it a lot of time to do. I'm not going to do it in one here, but I want to maybe do a few more of these super big ones. I might redo some of the other ones as well, like the Falkland Wars on a nice big map because it's a bit truncated in a short space, and there's another one, Cuba, I think I want to do again. Anyway. I've got so many plans. I just sort of want to say I'm going to do this. I'm not doing anything. I haven't done anything. But I want to get names. So this will say Morocco in a big sort of country code and Algeria. I'm not sure I put Morocco. Probably there, so that it went across like that, not cutting across anything. And here it's easy. Algeria. Nice big letters. To make it look more map-like. And I also got another one that I've not mentioned tirelessly before. Basically, each hex will have a bunch of feature options. That's the way I would be describing it, but it might be that there is an airport here and it'll actually have the airport symbol, or it could be that there's an oil field and it will have that, or something. Anyway, whatever's in there, it might even be just mundane things, like I don't know, I really can't even think of what's like a television station. So you would supplement the objectives by saying this was important because it was a television station. I have no idea whether or not there are any television stations that are important in any of the games. But, just things that what I'm trying to do is, as well as make the game with the game mechanics, which I'm basically not making any progress on that at all. I'm quite happy to just add scenarios, but as well as making the game mechanics, one of the things that I'm sort of keen on. And I know the maps aren't great, but I actually love the maps, to be quite honest. I know that there are a lot of better maps, but I'm trying to make the maps, because I think the maps are pretty much what it's all about just from a looking at it perspective. To understand. I think they add a lot of, the aesthetic of the map is actually quite important. That's what I'm getting to. And I'm going to, look at that, perfect line. I want to start sort of focusing on making sure that the maps are what I want them to be. I'm trying to talk and do this and I'm failing, I know, so. I mean, I've only got a few seconds left. I'm not even going to be able to do the Algeria turn. And I'm not going to do it now. It's one of these things that it's just going to take hours and hours. I'm not doing an hour video. So anyway, I'm not going to do any more. I'm going to start on the Algerian turn. But obviously they sort of counter to that, and there's some skirmishing, and then they take these, and etc. etc. Also, the Moroccans are the only people. The Moroccans are the only people with the air force, so that was interesting. Remember, if you want to play this and maybe do better than I'm doing, you can just sign up and you can play as many times as you want. Okay, I'll speak to you later. Cheerio, mate.